Seems we are live. Seems like we are live. This is Coffee with Frankie. It's Sunday, January the 18th. This is the coffee. I'm the Frankie. Man, and it is Sunday, January the 18th, 2026. As we roll into the playoffs, and more playoffs are happening, and the coaching cycle goes round and round and round. We're sitting here, and the Jets are not a lot of news coming out of the Jets, to be honest with you. Not a lot of news. Mark is here. Oh, let me see something. Ah. We don't have the comments here. Hang on, hang on. Hang on. Let's see if we can do browser for chat add existing browser for chat. Put it up here and see if we can make this work. Well, it's here, but it's not showing up. Browser for chat order to top. Well. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's try something else. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Hang on a second. Let's see if this works. If this doesn't work, I'll be right back. No, that's not working. Boxes and change. No. Man, oh man. Where's the O? Aha! Maybe this'll work. Never know with the technology around here at FSBN, ladies and gentlemen. But we got the comments up here. James Thompson is here. Good morning to James Thompson. Sunshine Salami. Sometimes you need a little sunshine in your life. You can turn to the salami man. Jets Worldwide has a question. Frankie, if we trade pick 33, what's a realistic ask in your opinion? Well, it depends. Jets Worldwide, unfortunately. We have to say it depends. Depends what somebody's coming up for. For example, if Ty Simpson were to fall to 33 and somebody really wants Ty Simpson, but we might take Ty Simpson, well, we get a higher price. So it really just depends on what somebody is coming up for and if somebody wants to come up at all. So, it's market dynamics in real time. What's the demand? What's the supply? The supply is fixed, so that's good. But is there any demand? I mean, it's good for us. We have the pick. We're the ones with it. But does anybody is anybody demanding to come up? We don't know. Depends what players are available. Now, the nice thing to know is there's a break. There's a break between day one and day two. So day one happens. We'll probably do a live stream here if I had to guess. Who knows? I'll check with the producers, all the producers I have. There's no producers. Just me. So I'll probably do a live stream at least for the first. But the first night is just the first round. And if we don't make any trades, then we'll have two picks. So that'll be exciting. But then there's a break. Everybody goes home for the night. This year, the draft is in Pittsburgh, by the way. So people are going to have fun on the strip, as they call it. That's about the only nice thing about Pittsburgh. But anyway, and they do have yellow bridges, so that's nice. But there's a break. There's a break between so everyone knows what they got and didn't get on day one, and then they know what's available on day two, so they can noodle over it, all that night, and then come into the facility the next day and think about it. Should we make a trade? Should we not? Who's available? Do we want anybody? And it's really impossible to say what the demand's going to be. We don't even know. We don't even know the final ranking of the team where teams are going to be picking. And we also don't know who's coaching a lot of these teams. So we don't know their coaching staffs, what their styles are, who might they prefer, who might they not prefer. And once we know that, then we got to know who did all these teams sign in for agency and not sign in for agency. So what holes do the teams have? We don't know. We have no idea. Therefore, it's impossible to say. Sorry, Jets Worldwide. RPM Red Shogun is here. Good to see RPM. Eddie Hunt is here. Good morning, Eddie Hunt. B. Trav says, loud and clear, licking chicken, as they say in the military. Phil Adams is here. He's from overseas. Audio, visual, ticker, comments. Yeah, we had to get rid of the ticker because, Eddie Hunt, technical issues. I was hoping to get the ticker on, but then I couldn't get the comments on. It's always something, Phil. You know what I'm saying? It's always something with FSPN. It's almost like we have no production quality. Maybe we need producers. Country Club Connor, and there's a bit of a story about Country Club Connor this morning. If you were following me on X, you would have known about it, but a lot of you people don't follow me on X. I don't know why. But, Country Club Connor and Zach Rosenblather, they do a YouTube show like this. And they got producers. They got executive assistants. They got butlers and maids. I mean, these people are living the high life. Tell you what. But here on FSPN, we got Frankie, and that's it. B-Trav says, snowing up here again, Frankie. Well, that's what you get for living in a shithole. This is your fault, B-Trav. You live in New Jersey. I keep telling you guys. Now, we're having a cold snap down here. So it's been down to like 33 degrees for a few days. The other day, I had to wear a winter coat. One day, I had to wear it. It was that cold. But then the next day, it was perfectly fine. And actually, by the afternoon, it was up to 60 degrees. So, yeah, don't live in shitholes. That would be my advice. I've lived many different places in this planet. I've lived in Brooklyn. I've lived in Staten Island. I've lived in upstate New York, in New Paltz. I've lived in Albany. I've lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I've lived for a short time in Oklahoma. I lived in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I've lived in Austin, Texas. And now I'm living in the Central Florida area. And what I can tell you is the South is way better than the North in every way possible. Not that there's not problems down here. Oh, also Pittsburgh. I skipped right over that. Lived in Pittsburgh. Ugh, worst of them all. But every place has their problems. That's for sure. There's no place perfect. But I would say in general, the South is better than the North these days. Joe Mike is here. Boy, oh boy. JoJo's here. JoJo was a man. Tucson, Arizona. Get back, JoJo. Mark Sanchetti, I know where the good eats are. Okay. See, Sanchetti says, I don't even have Twitter. Yeah, a lot of you people don't even have Twitter. I mean, I don't know how you follow the news. This is why a lot of you get burned by the mainstream news, because you don't get a Twitter account and learn how to use it. You don't even have to say anything on Twitter, now X. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to become verified if you don't want. And what you do is you create lists of good people on a certain topic. Let's say you create a list of all the NFL national writers, which is what I have here. I'm looking at it right here. Now, that one, I don't have to. Now, this one has mainstream people in it because you kind of have to have Adam Schefter and, Ian Rappaport and all these people. But you could have one that has a different kind of people for different kind of topics, and they don't have to be mainstream. Like with the NFL, you kind of need some of these mainstream people. But then I pepper in, different people who are not mainstream. Eric Branch, Herb Hand, Duke Manyweather, right? So I get a good Tim Twentyman. He covers the Lions. So I get a good sprinkling and mix of different kinds of news reporting. And that helps me keep my head on straight. If you don't do that, I don't know how you're filtering your news. You need to filter your news these days, in my opinion. It's too much otherwise. You can get overwhelmed. FSBN is real. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Joe Mike with a question. What are these strange NFL games? Yeah, Joe. I was thinking, I put in one of my videos, I was thinking I had like a daydream about what it would be like these days to be in the playoffs, to see your team's colors and logo come up when they're doing some sort of analysis on the television. It would almost be unbelievable at this point. But remember, the Buffalo Bills, before Tyrod Taylor saved them, and then, of course, Josh Allen really saved them, but they went 18 years without a playoff appearance. 18. We're only at, 15? So we're not even at the top of that mountain yet. Eddie Hunt. Nice to see Sam be at the helm against the beatdown of Saleh's defense. Yeah. And you saw it was more like, well, Sam has developed into a competent NFL quarterback, and that's what you saw. And then they put together a team, boy. But yeah, Saleh's supposed to be some great coach, and yet whenever there's an excuse for some guy being out on his defense, he stinks and gives up 40 points. And we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Country Club Connor Hughes as well, his little butt buddy. Frankie's been everywhere, man. Yeah, I've been a lot of places, man, and that's why I can say from experience, you don't want to live in New Jersey or New York City or really anywhere in the Northeast, in my opinion. I mean, unless you like the snow and the cold. I mean, in Pittsburgh, it was 6 months of winter. 6 months of winter. And in Pittsburgh, it's a little different than New York City, or New Jersey or something like that. But in Pittsburgh, once the winter comes, it usually comes like around November-ish, but sometimes delayed until December. Once it comes, there's no break. It is cold every day, all day, all night, freezing cold for 6 months straight. It's ridiculous how anybody lives there. And then they have these 90-degree streets. It's very hilly, they say, but really it's 90-degree streets. And if you get caught on one of those streets where it's frozen over or snow all over the place, you're dead. You are dead. It's death. Not only that, they also have sinkholes. I was there. We had a bus go into a sinkhole. Imagine you're riding a bus. You probably don't have that much money. You're trying to get by. You might be an older person. You might be a young fella. You're riding on a bus. All right. No problem. And then all of a sudden you're in a sinkhole and you might die because you live in Pittsburgh. It is ridiculous. Sitting on a bus and going in a sinkhole? Who the hell wants that? Nobody. Eddie Hunt, you should embrace Instagram more. I have an account, Eddie, but you're right. I don't use it. I don't post anything there. I don't know. If I could figure out a convenient way to clip up some of the things that we talk about on here, and maybe I could post it there. But you're right, Eddie, I should. Senior Bowl and Combine coming up soon. Yeah, something to look forward to. Yeah, we need something, right? Tampa Jets fans, Frankie, can we please shut down this trade for A.J. Brown narrative? Well, I don't know who's talking about that. I haven't really seen that, Tampa Jets fan, but Yeah, we're not doing that. I mean, he makes too much money. He's a diva. That's not the type of player that Aaron Glenn's going to get along with. If he can't even get along with Sirianni and when they're winning, how's he going to get along with Glenn and on this team? So he makes a ton of money. He has had clashes with his quarterback, with his head coach, with this and that. Why is he going to be happy here? We have no offense and we lose. So he's not happy with the Eagles. This is the same thing with Joe Burrow. It's the same principle. A.J. Brown's not happy being on the Eagles. They win. They've won. They went to the Super Bowl twice and won one very recently with him on the team. And he has, well, his quarterback is overrated, but he at least has a functional quarterback who can take you to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they did, and they won one with him. So he has that much. And things didn't go great this year, and he's not getting the targets or whatever it is. But he's not happy on a team that's winning, getting to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl, and he's going to come here and be happy? I mean, again, what do you want? If he were to come here, you would get a live suicide on the sidelines of an NFL game. He would take out a gun and kill himself. It was the same thing with Joe Burrow. You want Joe Burrow to come here? He's not happy with the Bengals. He went to the Super Bowl with them. And he's depressed and not happy, and he keeps getting injured. He's going to come here with a rubber pellet AstroTurf on his turf toe, and he's going to be happy here where we don't win, we don't go to the playoffs. Again, he'll be on the sideline with a gun trying to kill himself. And people want to get these people. That's not what we're doing. It's ridiculous. I don't know who's putting out A.J. Brown. I haven't seen that even with the Badlands people. I do keep up with some of the commentary of the Badlands people just so I can have an insight as to when these kind of stupid narratives come up and who's spouting them. Just like I keep an eye on the beat reporters. Well, not that I want to, but you got to know who's talking about what. Eagles breaking news. The Eagles and special teams coach Michael Clay have agreed to terms on a new deal for him to return to Philly. Okay. Titans have now scheduled second head coaching interviews for the Chiefs head coordinator Nagy and Packers DC Hafley, Jeff Hafley. You don't want to do it halfway. You want to do it full, but sometimes you got to go with Hafley. Seems like it's going to be Jeff Hafley down there in Miami because they hired John Eric Sullivan, and John Eric Sullivan comes from Green Bay, so they're thinking they might take Hafley from Green Bay as the HC. What's the longest playoff drought in professional sports? I don't know. Seems like something we should ask Gronk. Jojo, that's another reason why people should be on X. You also get Grok, which is an AI. You just type in questions like this. What is the longest playoff drought in professional sports? I'm sure it's some soccer team. Phil Adams will probably tell us. It's the Birmingham City Football Club, Frankie. Longest playoff drought in professional sports, and Grok will tell me. This is what we have AI for, Jojo. Longest active, this tells me active. I didn't say active, dum-dums. For all-time droughts, some older MLB teams had extreme streaks like the St. Louis Browns, 41 seasons. So St. Louis Browns, 41 years. There you go. We should go for that record. But it does tell me even Grok wants to make fun of the Jets because I asked for the longest playoff drought in professional sports. It gave me the active, and of course that's the New York Jets. But also the Buffalo Sabres, that's owned by the same people who own the Buffalo Bills, by the way. Last playoff appearance 2010-11, so basically the same as us. So that's kind of interesting. The Buffalo Bills had 18 years, and now the Sabres, also in Buffalo, going on 15, 16 years here. It's a lot. It's a lot. Seattle versus Houston in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that could definitely happen. Do you see the Joe Brady rumors to the Jets as HC? No, because that's not happening. Who needs Twitter when we have Frankie? Ian Rappaport, this is hard to watch about Dion Dawkins. He's a clown. Yeah. I live in the east end of the burg. The Jets are stuck in a sinkhole. Yeah, well. I've seen a couple of streams where people push for that move, and for everything you just said, stay away. Yeah. Expensive shysters. With Muji having a staff in place, is it too much to say that he needs to hit on the top four? No, that's every team every year, Joe. As visitor to the USA, Hawaii is top, followed in order by Seattle, Chicago, Washington. Yeah, but you can't really do it by visiting. Because when you say visiting, that means these are top, like, tourist destinations, like great places to go for a few days. You're going to hit the high points. Like people who like Pittsburgh, for example, who don't live there, they come there. They stay at one of the nice hotels. They do have some nice hotels. So they stay at a nice hotel, and then they go to the Strip. And the Strip is this strip with a bunch of bars and restaurants, and they're good bars and restaurants. And Pittsburgh Yinzers are very good drinkers. They do know how to drink beer, so you can have a good time. And then they go home and they say, "Well, I had a good time in Pittsburgh. It's awesome." Well, yeah, but you could have had that good time anywhere. There's good bars everywhere, and if you're around your friends and you have a good time and you have some drinks and you're having fun, yeah. But that has nothing to do with Pittsburgh. I had a Promantis sandwich. All right, yeah, it's a nice sandwich. You can get that sandwich anywhere. You can put French fries in your salad on your own. You don't need them to do it. So. It's ridiculous. Keep it simple, RC. Boy, that Niner defense sure looked familiar. Yeah. Yeah, when Robert Saleh doesn't have elite players all over the place, he's suddenly not a great coach. Weird how that happens. Seems like the Sabres draft well. I don't know anything about hockey, Tampa, so would you take Reese? Arvel Reese is probably a chess piece. I don't know what we would do with Arvel Reese. He can do everything, so I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. I'm of the opinion we're going to probably trade a haul up to 1. That's what I think, but I don't know. Eddie Hunter, we're getting a free agent quarterback, a starter, backup. We don't know, Eddie. Lots of things. It's impossible to tell right now. We don't even know who's coaching the teams yet. I mean, Harbaugh just signed with the Giants. It's looking like he might get Monken, for example, and he might not. So we don't even know. I mean, they have their quarterback, but he'd like to have Monken. Well, Monken might become the head coach of the Browns, and then what do they look like? So you got to wait until these coaches settle. Then they got to hire their staffs, and then you can start to piece together, okay, this guy worked with this guy, and that guy likes a running quarterback, and this guy likes a pocket quarterback. And, for example, Stefanski now is in Atlanta, and Zach Rosenblather put something out saying that he coached Kirk Cousins in Minnesota for a short period of time. So maybe he'd be more inclined to keep him than some other coach who comes in there. So all those kind of things are going to keep happening where people get hired and then you got to make the connections. This guy likes this guy. He knows this guy. He, this, that, and the other thing. So we don't know. What I think is that we had the report, and I put out a clip the other day. We had a report. Is it a reliable report? Somewhat reliable. That the Vegas Raiders are open to trading the first overall pick. And if that is true, and if they are open, I think Muji's going to blow them away with a trade offer. And we're not going to like it. It's going to be way too much, But I think he's going to go for it because this regime, if they have any smarts at all, knows they got to sell the fan base on hope. And signing a Malik Willis or signing a Kirk Cousins or signing a Jimmy G or something is not great for the hope department. It's going to be hard to tell the fan base, okay, we got Kirk Cousins, just hang on for 27. That's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. The city has reinvented itself to become a tech center. Okay. The food is Vaseline improved. Should we consider drafting Garrett Nussmeier only if you want a shorter, worse Mac Jones? Mood said Breezy is testing free agency. Well, he's technically a free agent, yeah. Hopefully we sign him, and that ends that. Because we really need to keep everybody in the fold that makes sense to keep in the fold, and he makes sense. I mean, if you lose him, now you got to replace him, and it's just one more thing. Just sign a guy that you want and make it a fair deal, and let's get it done. Keep it simple, RC. Well, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, except that we have a lot of holes to fill, and then that would be another one. Running backs are not really a dime a dozen. They are if you want just sort of like average production. But Brees, with his improvement over, he's been held back by that knee injury to reaching his potential. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but we have so many holes to fill. It's like that would be just another one. I think just give him a deal. It's just money. You can make it easy on the cap and just keep rolling. Because we got other people. He does seem to want to be here. From everything we can tell, he seems to want to be here. And if that's the case, then you just lock him up. And we don't have to worry about the running game this year at all. We got all this other stuff to worry about. The running game shouldn't be another one. Don't forget, Braylon Allen's coming back from injury, so we don't know how he's going to look. He had a knee injury, sort of a minor one, but still. And sure, you could pick up a $2 million running back, but I would just sign Brees and just move on to the next need. We have a lot of needs. Let's just keep it simple, keep it moving. We got a lot going on. Now, one of the things that happened, and if you're not on X, you didn't see it, but Country Club Connor Hughes blocked me. This happened last night after I exposed his love for Robert Saleh. And I knew he was going to do this because as I was watching the game, I was like, whenever the 49ers have a good game that's on national TV, Connor Hughes will celebrate Robert Saleh. Oh, my God, what a good coach Robert Saleh. And it's a way to rub it into Jet fans. And it's annoying because, as I know, Robert Saleh is a good coach when he has elite players on his defense. When he doesn't, he can't coach out of a paper bag. So somebody beat me to it. I was gonna dunk on him last night. Somebody actually beat me to it. And he did what I knew he would do, which is he used the excuse of, well, he has all these injuries on his defense. And I quoted his tweet, and I pointed out, this is the definition of a bad coach. If you are only a really good coach when you have elite players at every level, then you're not a good coach. Anybody can coach Fred Warner. It's not a problem. Anybody can coach elite players on defense. It's easy. It's when you have setbacks, when you don't have the roster, perfectly set, that you actually need coaching. Because if you have elite players at every level and you're the coach, you're just a cheerleader. He's just an expensive cheerleader on the sideline going, yay, good job, Fred Warner. Great job, D. Winters. It's not that hard. And so I pointed this out. And apparently he didn't like that, so he blocked me. And I think this is now the third person who's blocked me. It's Gary Gnu Myers, and it's Tom Mucho Dinero Pellicero. And it's these people who, when I expose them for being shills and taking kickbacks from agents and doing ads for things and not disclosing you're doing an ad, that's when they block me. So it's not a problem. I can still see all of Connor Hughes' tweets, by the way, if you're watching Connor, which I know you do. And I just think it's kind of a pussy move myself. I mean, feel free to block at will. I mean, that's part of being on X. You can block people, you can mute people, all this kind of thing. But I just think when you get criticized and when it really hits home, that's when they block because I'm exposing them. And that's what the alternative media should do. When you have these big media stooges sitting around, living the high life with like fat cats, getting kickbacks all over the place and doing favors for agents, and that's how it works. We know that because that's what he told us on the Green Bean interview. Then that's bullshit. That's what it is. And it just needs to be exposed, which is what I do, and then they block me. They can't handle it. They can't handle being exposed for the assholes that they are. And that's okay. It's okay by me. And it's not going to stop me from doing what I do. FSBN will not be daunted. I'll tell you that. He's going to be on the ticker. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the ticker. I think it's pretty funny, some of the stuff I put up there. In case you're wondering how the ticker works, I type stuff into it. It's a connection thing. I don't know how the technology works. But anyway, I'm the one putting in stuff on the ticker. So I'll keep exposing these people. They're not good people, and they don't work for good organizations. If somebody's working for the Disney Corporation, that's very bad. And Disney owns ESPN. Zach Rosenblather works for The Athletic, which is owned by the New York Times, which is 43% owned by Carlos Slim, which is a narco-terrorist from Mexico. That's not good. And before him, Connor Hughes worked at The Athletic, which is the New York Times, which is 43% owned by Carlos Slim, narco-terrorista. So now, Carlos Slim has legitimate businesses also, but if you know anything about Mexico, you don't get to have big legitimate businesses unless you're doing business with the cartels. That's just reality. So these people are working for basically evil incarnate. And they get to go around like experts on this stuff, and then they do things like, like they don't pay attention to the college season at all, and then they watch 2 games of the college playoffs, and they think they're fucking experts. Well, there's Dante Moore. He didn't seem to play very well in the playoffs, so I don't think he's very good. Like, shut the fuck up. Where have you been? Also, they have never seen a fucking college game, and all of a sudden the college football playoff comes around, and they're making judgment calls. Shut the fuck up. So yeah, we shouldn't respect them. We do have to listen to them, unfortunately, because they're the ones who have the sources. Frankie, by the way, FSPN, this channel, I had this discussion with Braden, one of the members of this channel. And by the way, you should become a member if you support the alternative media. I will try and dunk on these fuckers all day long. But at the same time, they have the power and I don't. I'm just like, it's David versus Goliath over here. So you should join up for $2 a month and join the army because we do need better reporters. We got to get better reporters out there, not just some golf enthusiasts who drop into some football coverage and say, let me be a big shot, like this fucker. But, we're going to keep going, and that's just the way it is. But it's just, it's kind of annoying. We need better coverage of the team, but they're the ones with the sources. FSPN has no sources. When you're the guy dunking on big media, nobody wants to talk to you. It's not exactly a hotbed of tips coming in to old Frankie. So we don't have any tips. We just use logic, and we have public sources of information, and we do keep up with what they're publishing because they have the sources. For example, Country Club Connor's putting out this morning that he keeps hearing about Wink Martindale as the DC of the Jets. So he's hearing that, and he hears it from league sources, from Jet sources, from Wink's agent. So, he hears things. Why? Because he used to work for The Athletic. Now he works for SNY, so people text him things. That's how it works. So, yeah, another fucker blocking Frankie. Not going to stop FSPN by blocking me, I tell you that much. And I will say, hope you're living clean, Connor. Hope you're living clean, buddy. AVT, yeah, hopefully we get AVT and Brees back. Those would be two good signings, Eddie. We just put that in the bank, put it away, and then we say to anybody we get as a quarterback or whatever, we go, look at our offensive line. Look at the running game. We got some stuff here. Look at Garrett Wilson. We'll look at A.D. Mitchell. We got some stuff here. It's not perfect. We need you, Mr. Quarterback, whoever it is. But we got some stuff. That's part of it also. Sala Fairweather. Coach, yep. Spin Max Dave. He's a member of the Inner Circle, and you should join for $2 a month because, after all, we here at FSPN are standing up to these big media douchebags. Eddie Hunt shouldn't let talent walk out the door. Yeah. Keep it simple. Frankie, do you think Harbaugh will prove to be a good coach or just the guy that was handed great players? Well, Harbaugh is an interesting case. I understand why the Giants did what they did. He was the best, he was the most accomplished coach on the market. They moved very aggressively. They're paying him $20 million a year. That's guaranteed. But it doesn't hurt the cap or anything, so who cares what they're paying? But if you think about his track record, yes, he has winning records, but he's had great teams that whole time. And when the team started to slip, the record started to slip. When Lamar started getting injured all the time, well, then their record started slipping. And he didn't even get to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, an elite quarterback, and Derrick Henry, one of the greatest running backs of all time, and great defenses. So I don't think he's really all that great. I think he's one of these guys who, if he has good talent, he'll do good. And if he has bad talent, he'll do bad. But at the same time, if you're the Giants, he was in the driver's seat because they've been as bad as us pretty much since the same time as us, since about 2011 or 12 or whatever, just about the same time frame. So they needed to do it. I understand why they did it. I don't think Harbaugh is some great mastermind. And he comes with the same problem that's the biggest problem of all, which is the same problem we have. No matter how good Aaron Glenn turns out to be, let's assume he turns out to be good. Let's hope and pray to the gods that he develops into a good coach. Well, the problem is the most consequential coach on your staff is the play caller, the offensive play caller, and in conjunction with the quarterback and the offense. That's the most consequential coach that you have. And whoever he hires as the OC, if he turns around the offense, that OC will be gone in a year or two. So he has the same problem that we have. He's not an offensive play caller. So you're paying $20 million for a guy who could, if things go great, he's going to lose his OC every year or two. Unless he hires Todd Monken, I guess, because that's also a unique situation where Monken wouldn't go and get hired away for some reason. And now that he's a free agent, he's taking interviews. But he might not. Maybe he's terrible at interviews. I don't know. But he had Monken all that time. And he had Greg Roman. And Greg Roman, he just got fired from the Chargers. So I don't know. It's a big bag of I don't know. But, I understand why they did it. I just don't think it's a home run hire. I think it's all right, good, solid. And his success is really going to be determined by Jackson Dart and the offensive coordinator, which you could have gotten for half the price. But it's their money. It doesn't hurt their cap, so what do I care if they pay him $20 million for 5 years? But, he did win a Super Bowl. So, Eddie Hunt. Well, I don't know, Eddie. I would say it's a small subset of Jet fans for this channel. Spin Max Dave, what's your guess at today's? I don't know. I don't make predictions, Dave. We don't know, Joe Mike. There's been no reporting on that, but maybe some of those people are going for head coach jobs, and maybe the Jets realized through their agents that those people are not interested in being our DC. Yeah, this is another problem, Mark. That's true. Rosenblather, he's always condescending and smug. He's always taking little shots at the Jets. Always. And this is a guy, this is the other thing. Do you think these guys ever played football or even any kind of sport other than golf? You think Zach Rosenblather played any other sport other than tiddlywinks? And yet he's going to sit there, and because he works for the Athletic and a narco terrorist, Carlos Slim, he's going to feel superior to you and your fandom. And then Badlands will put him on the fucking payroll. I mean, a lot of you are Badlands supporters out there. They put that shitbird on their payroll. Somebody should ask Joe Asaroso about that. Why are you putting shitbird over here on your payroll? Like, he's the enemy. You understand? Like, he is the enemy. It makes everything worse, just like all these media people do. Phil Adams, power corrupts. Yeah. Mark, I think it's Wink's agent promoting the shit out of him. That's also possible. But I also think he makes the most sense for the Jets out of the ignominious 8 that we did interview. We actually got a good group considering our situation. We can't get the cream of the crop to come here. We got to get this goddamn thing straightened out before we can start talking about, the top of the top in terms of reputation and things of that nature. So I think Wink would be a good solution. Wink, I put out a video about this, but Wink, Jim Leonard, I like DeMarcus Covington, but some of the other guys have decent resumes as well. So, but I think Wink gives you kind of like a stabilizing force where, okay, it's going to be Blitzapalooza, but when you don't have that much talent, maybe you need a Blitzapalooza, and he'll probably get it straightened out. We'll probably get a bunch of turnovers, and he would come here, get a 3-year deal, probably still has a house in Jersey from his time with the Giants, so that's unique. And if things go sideways, he'll be like, well, I got a 3-year deal. I'll take Woody Bucks with me to the house and just call it a day and retire, if need be. So there's some unique circumstances with Wink that I like. Some of these other young up-and-comers, we can't even have Jim Leonard come in because they won, so he's not coming in. So do we want to wait? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Seems to me that Wink is the favorite, though, because it was reported that we started talking to him before the season even ended. So now he was sort of like free agent then, so we didn't have to wait for anything. We could start talking to him, but we did. And I think that shows you real interest on the Jets' part. Now you have Country Club saying he keeps hearing Wink. And again, yes, we always have to take it with a grain of salt that the agents are pulling the strings. And most of the time, though, it's true, but sometimes it's not, and that's the game that they play. That's the other game that these assholes play. Dirty Diana Rossini plays it all the time. All these reporters do that all the time. We need you, Mr. Quarterback. Yeah, there should be a song, like a country song about, we need you, Mr. Quarterback. Come in and stabilize the franchise. He's got Scatty-Boo. Yeah, Scatty-Boo averaged, 3.3 yards per carry? So, he's almost a full yard below average. So there's that. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we are with Country Club Connor. That's where we are with the coaching circular cycle. So I don't think there'll be. Oh, here's some breaking news. Steelers are expected to speak with former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. McCarthy is from Pittsburgh, yes, and worked with Omar Khan in New Orleans in 2000. That was 26 years ago. That would be an interesting hire for the Steelers. So, like, if the Steelers went McCarthy, He's probably not getting Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, though their differences were overblown in the media. But he might want a Kirk Cousins, for example. Does Mike McCarthy want to develop, Ty Simpson? Yeah, probably not. So they might go the free agent route. And that's the sort of thing we got to let all these dominoes fall because different coaches do different things. When the Raiders got Pete Carroll, then they wanted Geno Smith, whereas another coach maybe didn't want Geno Smith. John Eric Sullivan is the GM of the Dolphins, so the speculation is he wants Jeff Hafley. That would not scare me. I think the Dolphins made a big mistake getting rid of McDaniel. You see McDaniel going all over the place. He's interviewing for head coaching jobs. He's interviewing for OC jobs. So he's in demand. And when you see that, you might go, well, man, did we make a mistake or not? So Carson Beck is at the microphone and giving an interview. Somebody asked him, "Did you have class yesterday?" Carson Beck said, "I graduated 2 years ago. No class." Somebody said, "College football is dead." So here you have Carson Beck. He's been in college for 7 years or whatever, and he's not taking any classes right now, and hasn't for 2 years. That's weird. It's weird that he has this, but college football really has to get this eligibility thing fixed. They have to get this calendar fixed, and they got to get this portal fixed. There's too much going on with all these players. They want all this eligibility. They want 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, and the calendar's messed up, and they got to get all of this fixed. There's a lot to be done, and it's not clear that the NCAA can do it. That's the problem. So we got a couple more games today. New England Patriots. Your New England Patriots will be playing, but the Buffalo Bills lost yesterday, and everybody was all upset, crying. Josh Allen crying. Deion Dawkins crying. There's no crying in football, gentlemen. But apparently they don't go by those rules. So, and the 49ers lost. Now, the 49ers probably are not going to, I would say their coordinators, Kubiak and Saleh, they'll probably get some looks, but probably not going to get hired, I would think. And then Mike McDonald has another Kubiak. Now, that Kubiak is probably going to get hired somewhere. Clint, who knows? Is one of these Kubiaks. And now Mike McDonald's going to have a problem. Now, he has a stifling defense, and that's good. But now when he starts losing OCs, then he has to hire a new OC, and is he going to be as good as the Kubiak one? And is he going to click with Darnold and all that? So that's something to watch as far as the Seahawks are concerned, and it's one of the problems in hiring defensive coaching to be head coaches. But we, of course, have no choice. We have to hire who we can hire. The Texans, and so today we got at 3 o'clock, Texans Patriots. Speaking of defense, we'll see how the Texans do against old Drake May. See if he can pass that test. But even if Drake May loses today and the Patriots lose today, man, they had a successful season. And then you got Rams and Bears. So kind of the same thing there. How does Caleb hold up against the Rams defense? Old man Stafford trying to persevere. And does he come back next year? He had an MVP level season. I'm sure they'd love to have him back for another year. We'll have to see what they do. Because if he retires, then they need a quarterback. So lots to be revealed as these teams keep playing and losing, getting out of the league. We need you, Mr. Quarterback. Need you to get back to reality. Yeah, because then every team could play that song ad nauseum whenever they need a quarterback in the offseason. Keep it simple. McCarthy was one and done in the playoffs with Dallas. That would be a continuation of, well, no. McCarthy has a great track record, has won a Super Bowl. If you're going to hire someone, I like Mike McCarthy a lot. The fact that they didn't win in the playoffs. It's hard to win in the playoffs. He went 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, and then had an off year. And then got fired. And what about his entire track record on Green Bay? A lot of playoff wins there. This man went to the. I mean, he has an identical resume to Harbaugh. You understand that? So Harbaugh can get 20 million and $100 million contract, and McCarthy. Most fans hate Mike McCarthy. Their resume is exactly the same. 18 years coaching, 12 in the playoffs, one Super Bowl win, bunch of playoff wins, playoff losses, et cetera, et cetera. Their resume is exactly the same. And yet everybody loves Harbaugh and everybody hates McCarthy. Why? It's crazy. And one calls the plays, McCarthy calls the plays, which makes him unpoachable. So if you have success with McCarthy, your play caller cannot be poached. So if it were me, and let's say I had to choose between those two, their resumes are pretty much identical. And I had to choose one of them, I would choose McCarthy because he's the play caller. So if I have success, which I would hope, obviously you're hoping for success, but if you have it, then he cannot be poached. The head coach cannot be poached. He's the unpoachable coach. Whereas if Harbaugh has success with Monken, or, well, Monken's a little different, but let's say he hires some youngster, whoever he hires, to be the OC, and then they have success, well, that guy's leaving. He's going to be a head coach somewhere. So, if you're going to hire guys who have the exact same resume, why not hire the one who calls the plays? It's the most important guy. Kyler Murray to the Steelers. I don't know what the hell the Kyler Murray is going to do. I don't know. McCarthy would want Rodgers. Well, he might want Rodgers. He might not want Rodgers. I don't think he actually would. Maybe he would. But this is 43-year-old Rodgers. Was okay this year, but he had Rodgers. They had they were not on the same page toward the end there. But they both say that was kind of overblown. So maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I would think he probably doesn't at 43 years old. Is he really? I'll go with Aaron Rodgers. Personally, I wouldn't mind getting Mike LaFleur to OC. Yeah, but he's not going to come here. Why would he do that? First of all, he's an OC there, so we can't hire him. They would block it. Second of all, why would he want to do that? Why would Mike LaFleur want to do that? We don't even have a quarterback. Why is he going to go to a terrible situation when he could go to? I mean, he's getting head coach interviews, Mike LaFleur. He's not going to come back to this shithole. Saleh to the Cardinals would be good karma. Arizona is where coaches and players. Yeah, Arizona is another franchise that they can't seem to get it right. Steelers get an unknown in their third. Yeah, that's what they tend to do. Right. They pretty much have had defensive coaches, but if you think about it, like almost all the success that Tomlin had was when he had Roethlisberger. And going back into ancient history is not really productive. But Tomlin built his resume on Roethlisberger. As soon as he retired, they won. They had winning seasons, but they weren't really Super Bowl contenders. So it's the same thing over and over. It's like, can you get the quarterback and the OC? And if you're a defensive coordinator, a defensive guy as head coach, you hope that your OC and quarterback can stay together long enough to where the quarterback doesn't need the OC anymore. Whatever OC you bring in, the quarterback's good enough now at that point, year 3, year 4, where they are really their own OC. That's what you're hoping for. Because then you can let OCs come and go, and the quarterback should be fine. In theory, anyways. But that's a tough one because you don't know. There's a lot of quarterbacks who are good, but with the right OC, they're elite. And there's a lot of quarterbacks who are mid, but with the right OC, they're good. You see, the OC is really the one who can raise up players. People talk about developing people and stuff like that. It's not really developing them as much as making sure that your play calling matches up with the skill set of the QB and getting on the same page and running things that the QB is good at running, basically. Uh, so that's why that guy is the most important. So that's why we also have to hope, in addition to getting a quarterback, that Tanner Engstrom is good enough, and he sticks around long enough to where the quarterback that whoever we get, can be on his own and be his own OC at some point. Rodgers is a poor man's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, he's still okay-ish. I was surprised he played as well as he did, but they threw the ball. I mean, his average depth of target this year was like 4 yards. I mean, he was just throwing little tiny passes all day to get his little stats. Now, why they were doing that, I don't know. I mean, the dude still has an arm. I mean, it's not like he can't throw anymore, like what happened with Roethlisberger. I mean, Rodgers can still throw it far, that is. I wonder if this has a dot. It does not. One of the most important stats is a dot, average depth of target. And Pro Football Reference doesn't have it. As far as I see, drop percentage, on target percentage. It gives you all this stuff. It doesn't give you a dot. A dot is the most important stat. Well, one of the most important. Let's look at PFF, shall we? They'll tell me. Just want to make sure I have it right. Maybe he increased it to 5 yards. But basically, if you're just throwing these little screen passes and whatnot, it's very easy to put up other stats that look good. Let's view in premium stats. Offense. No, that's not going to tell me. Man. Passing, that's what we need. Oh, he got it up to 6.6. All right. Still very low. Some of the lowest A dot of his career, 6.6. His next lowest was with the Jets, 7.3. So it's basically, throwing these little dump off passes and getting yardage. I mean, he wasn't bad this year, don't get me wrong, but I guess somebody could want him. The other part of it is, does he want to play? I don't know why he would want to play. He passed everybody he wants to pass on the all-time lists that's possible to pass on those lists. And so why would he come back? I mean, he's risking a lot. You're risking significant injury. You're risking concussion. You're risking your brain health for the rest of your life. He just got married this year. He said he wants to have children at some point. Why are you going to risk your physical health when you've made so much money it's not even funny? I mean, there's no need to come back for money whatsoever. And you're risking your health for what? So you could throw a screen pass to Kenny Gainwell? I mean, what are we doing here? Mike McCarthy also develops quarterbacks. Well, I mean, Rodgers was Rodgers. He was a first-round pick. It's not like he was some UDFA. Well, I wouldn't say he does great with quarterbacks. I would say he's a great offensive mind. I mean, he had Dak Prescott, who's a good quarterback. Then he had Favre. Then he had Rodgers. Rodgers was a first-round pick, and as we all know, slid. It's not like he was some project. But McCarthy's a good offensive mind. I don't know why McCarthy is so shat upon. He has the same exact resume as John Harbaugh. It's exact. Joe Mike, Rodgers out, check. Bills out, check. Next up, New England and Devontae Adams. Jets hate watching checklist. Rodgers was afraid of getting crushed by defensive players. I wouldn't say that. Spin Max Dave, no doubt Jets need a quarterback. Is Ty Simpson worth the 16th pick? I don't think so, personally, myself. I do think he's worth maybe in the second round if you want to go that way. But the problem with taking him in the first round is a lot of risk involved, and then you're passing up the talent you desperately need elsewhere. So we'll see. Isn't the key to quarterback development handing him an offensive line that keeps him upright? Well, that's part of it. Should we take a shot at drafting Trinidad? Well, it depends who we sign in free agency and what things look like, but probably not. Rodgers is old man cranky now. I think he retires. Yeah, I don't know what he would come back and play for. He's risking a lot, and it just doesn't seem. I mean, he came back this year to go up those all-time lists. He had to pass Favre on the touchdown list, which he did, and he had to go up, I think, one more spot on the yards list. So he's done those things. What else is there to do? I mean, he had 21 years in 527 touchdowns. That's a lot. 66,274. I mean, the man has had an incredible career. It just, to me, you're risking concussion, you're risking physical injury, and you have a new bride at home, and you want to start a family. I just don't see the point of coming back at age 43 and trying to throw 6-yard passes. I don't know. Now, maybe he wants to still do it. I don't know. I don't know why he would come back. I really don't. He did everything that he wanted to do. He showed that he could play 2 more years after his Achilles, which is something he wanted to do. He wanted to come back to the Jets. Potentially, that was his first stop on the tour, if you remember. And Aaron Glenn said, "No, get out of here." So he actually wanted to give the Jets a second year. So he already had a second year post Achilles on his mind. He did that. He played 16 games, only missed one game with that wrist injury. He had an okay-ish year, went to the playoffs, and got crushed. So, I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know what he would keep playing for. The teams that he would pretend. I mean, like if Stafford retired, one scenario would be if Stafford retired and the Rams wanted him and he could go back and be with McVay and Devontae. Okay, I could see that. But you're really going to go back with Pittsburgh where they have no receivers and a shoddy O-line and a very aging defense just to play with Mike McCarthy again? I just Now, the Rams, where you're out in California, where he's from, and you could be with McVay and Devontae, okay. I could see that. I could see that. That's one scenario where I could see if the Rams maybe would want. But would the Rams want to do that? I don't know. There's not a lot of good options. Like everybody else is saying, there's not a lot of good options for quarterbacks out there. So maybe they would just roll the dice with Rodgers for another year out in L.A. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Sorry for MVP. He doesn't want to get it. And the lines, and I don't know what that means. Rodgers would come back so that the last pass of his career. I don't think he cares about that. There's a lot of effort and training and mental grind that you have to go through. It's not like baseball or basketball. These guys in basketball, they play forever because, okay, I'll come by and shoot some jump shots. Who cares? Football's not like that. You gotta grind the whole year round to train and get into shape and go through the mental grind and all of that. It's not so easy. Pitt has Rudolph. Well, Rudolph or Will Howard, but the thought is, they would probably take, if Ty Simpson was available at 21 or 22, wherever they're picking, they'd probably take Ty Simpson right there and just try that. But we got to see who they hire first. I don't see the Raiders handing anyone Mendoza. Why wouldn't Malik Willis sign here for a 2-3-year deal with 1.5 years guaranteed? Well, Malik Willis is going to have options, and we'll see if the Jets want him, and we'll see if he wants to come here. Depends what his other options are. Maybe he wants to go out to Arizona. Maybe he wants to, maybe the Raiders would like to sign him and then make a trade for us. So the idea with the Raiders making a trade is because they need a haul because their team is so depleted of talent. If you drop a rookie quarterback in there with Genty and Brock Bowers and nothing else, that's not a good position to put any rookie in. How are you going to evaluate that rookie's going to get killed? So why not trade a haul, get a veteran in there, and then with the haul, you start improving your team and you're on a 2 or 3 year cycle to improve the roster to the point where any quarterback you get, veteran or rookie, has a chance to succeed. If you put Mendoza or any rookie on that team now, the chances of him being successful, it could happen. I mean, look at C.J. Stroud came in right away, but the chances of it happening, they just don't have any talent. The O line is a mess. Genty had an okay rookie year. We don't know if he's special or just another running back. And they got Brock Bowers, who's excellent, but was injured a lot. So what do they really have? You're going to put a rookie in that situation? You could ruin his confidence. You could get him killed and injured. Guy trying to figure it out in the NFL, and he's got so little talent around him. Is that really smart? They may think it's fine. I don't know. But if I were them, I would think about a veteran to bridge it, get the team, and then get a haul from the Jets. And by the way, nobody can offer them a haul like we can. And when I say haul, I mean a combination of picks and players and future picks, like a one next year. We could put together a massive haul for them so that they can get the talent on the team way up for whoever. Maybe they sign Malik Willis or they sign a Kirk Cousins and they just say, we need to get ourselves on the right track with enough talent and then we'll drop the quarterback in. So it really just depends on how they do their analysis. They may say, that's all well and good, Frankie, but we love Mendoza and we're not trading out on you under any circumstances. That's also possible. We don't know what Spytek and Brady are going to do, the Michigan men. But that's the way I would look at it. B. Trav, McCarthy's overweight and doesn't project. I actually think this might be part of it. It's like the person's appearance. It's like this plays into the favor of Robert Saleh. One of the reasons people love Robert Saleh so much is that he's tall and he's handsome and he's muscular and he has that great voice, great deep voice. He's one of the few people who has a great deep voice. And all those things, I think, play into the image. And when people think about him, unfortunately, image is part of it. And Big Mike is Big Mike. He's big fatso. And people don't like big fatzos. They don't. It's true. And Harbaugh, he's in shape. He's thin. And that may sound weird to some, but I can tell you it's true. I know what I'm talking about. I really do with that. Mark Sacchetti, McCarthy can't get a job because he's chubby. Oh, there you go. Owners hate chubby head coaches. Dodes, that's true too. Rodgers is a huge narcissist. Won't get the same level of national attention he wants once he retires. Yeah, but he said that he doesn't want any attention after he retires. So we'll see if that holds up. Like I was thinking he could start a podcast called The Raj Podge, kind of like Hodgepodge, the Raj Podge, and just talk about a hodgepodge of topics, because he does like all this weird stuff, apparently. But that would be courting attention, right? And so we'll see if he just kind of disappears and does venture capital, and which is what I think he'll probably do. He has a venture capital firm, so that's probably what he'll do. All right, take care of that. Okay, so Salah has the diversity card. Yeah, and it doesn't, I'm sure that helps him get interviews as well. because, hey, we can get our diversity thing done with him. So, Chetty, I would prefer to use our draft picks and bring in rookie talent. Well, without a quarterback, what good is it? I mean, it's going to really depend on the evaluation process, and if Muji and AG are really sold um, on Mendoza, then uh, then you could see them just loading up. We could make a huge trade and still have our second round pick and still have two picks next year. And the idea would be, well, we got to sell hope to the fan base. Malik Willis isn't going to get it done in terms of that. And we really believe in this kid. And we already have a good, solid situation. What if we sign Romeo Dobbs, for example? Now you have a wide receiver room that's very good. Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell. People don't realize how good Adonai Mitchell is. Romeo Dobbs, and John Mechie and Isaiah Williams. That's an excellent wide receiver room. So we have that. The offensive line is solid. What if we sign AVT? Now it's excellent. Only spot it's not excellent would be center. So let's say we sign AVT. Let's say we sign AVT, Brees, and Romeo Dobbs. That's not far fetched. Reason Romeo Dobbs would want to come here, we would just tell him you get the opportunity. Look, you're going to be a wide receiver 2 here. What are you going to be on the Packers? They have Matthew Golden. They have to get going. They have Watson. They have all these people. So you come here, you get to be wide receiver 2. You might even be wide receiver 1. It's 1A, 1B with you and Garrett, we would tell him. So you're going to get a lot of opportunity, and he might say, well, what about the quarterback? And then if we make this big trade where we move up to 1, then you say, all right, it's going to be the Heisman winner, Mendoza. And he might like that. He might not like that, but we can make him like it with money. We can give him an over-market deal. And then if you sign Brees, sign AVT, sign Romeo Dobbs, the offense is looking good for a rookie quarterback, as opposed to the Raiders, who really have nothing. They don't have an offensive line, no matter what they try to do in the offseason and in the draft. They're not going to have an offensive line or a wide receiver room that good. They do have Brock Bowers and they do have Ashton Genty, and that's all they have. So that could be the plan. And then, yes, we'll have to give up a haul to go up one spot, and people will make fun of us. But if Mendoza works out, then they can make fun all they want. That's what really matters. Isn't there a connection between the Mannings and the Raiders? I don't think there's a connection between the Mannings and the Raiders. What's the connection? Mark Davis? The connection is with the Browns. The Browns have an owner named Jimmy Haslam, and Haslam is close to the Manning family. Now, what the hell they do with their quarterback situation is going to be interesting as well. Depends on, again, who they hire. Looking like they might hire Jim Schwartz to be the head coach there, maybe. Maybe Todd Monken. And we don't know what these guys are going to want to do as far as quarterback. But there's no guarantee that Arch is available to you. So if Arch has a big season and you're not the first overall pick, you're not getting him. So to bank on something for the following year is also risky, unless you have a plan in place to bridge it, and you have to be ready to say, all right, we like any one of 5 or 6 dudes. So we'll have to see. I mean, like an interesting one is Atlanta with Stefanski. They have Stefanski in place now. He's the play caller. So that's a good move. I actually like the Stefanski to the Falcons better than Harbaugh to the Giants, although they're both good hires, of course. But I like Stefanski to the Falcons better because he's the play caller. 2-time coach of the year, been to the playoffs, and he's the play caller. Now, who's he going to want for his quarterback? I'm pretty sure that was extensively discussed during the interview process with Stefanski. And, of course, they have Cousins and they have Penix. So does he really want to go with Penix? Does he really want to go with Cousins? Cousins reworked his contract, and everybody's speculating that he's going to become a free agent, but they can always change the contract if Stefanski says, no, I want to go with Kirk Cousins to start with to get us on the right track and get us moving forward. And then Penix, he's got the injury. We don't know if he's going to be ready, so he'll be a backup or whatever. Or they may say, no, you know what? I'm not really feeling Kirk Cousins for the start of my tenure here. I want to go with Penix, or I don't know what they're going to do. But certainly he had a weird situation in Cleveland where he had a hard on for Dylan Gabriel for some reason. So what does that tell you? Maybe he likes short left-handed quarterbacks. I don't know. Penix is left-handed. He does have experience with left-handed quarterbacks. I guess you could say for old Stefanski. Oh, man. May the Schwartz be with you. We need Schwartz over here. Yeah, but he's not coming here. He's either going to be probably the head coach of the Browns or stick around and be the DC. Anybody that they hire, let's say they hired Monken. Well, Todd Monken's going to keep Schwartz. It'd be stupid. Why are you going to get rid of Schwartz, one of the best DCs in the league? I'm more into the Jets now that the season is over. Hope is all we got. Well, we needed to reset. I mean, as soon as we made the trades for Sauce and Quinnen, the defense was going to be terrible. And that's hard to watch. And then the quarterback position with Brady Cook. So, yeah, it was a tough season. Now we got to see what these people do in terms of rebuilding this thing. And hopefully they make a lot of good moves. So we'll see. All right, it's 11:16. That'll do it for this edition of Coffee with Frankie. Thanks for joining. Please subscribe to the channel, click the like button, or subscribe to the Inner Circle where you get exclusive items that you don't get anywhere else. And it's only $2 a month, so would highly recommend it and would greatly appreciate the support as FSPN rolls on fighting the good fight against these big media scumbags, let's be honest. And they try to block old Frankie. They try to keep him out. But with your help, we can get back in and we can keep on fighting. So click the join button down below if you don't mind. And otherwise, I will see you next time.